Making a video. Yeah, pretty much. Sorry. No other way to do this. I have to arrange it so the camera's pointing somewhere. Anyway, can't hear. Anyway, so Holiday has made a video. Experiences are not real. We'll just go through this again. I took notes. And I'll play a little bit of his video, but he just keeps conflating the fact that we have brains have configurations, the configurations produce what we call sensation, with the concept of what for individuals triggers a sensation. So he keeps saying those are the same subject. What we feel as a stimulus from something is the same subject as the fact that we feel. And so, yeah, he just turns it into some sort of subjective experience rather than a actual experience, which it is. Feeling happens. It's not a figment. And if it is a figment, it doesn't matter because it's happening. It's being produced. It's being generated. You're experiencing it. There's just no doubt about it. Whether it's a hologram is still a reality. It's still a manufactured reality, even though we would call it a fake. Our feelings, the value quality, is fake, but it's produced by an engine. It's a real fake. It's a real counterfeit. Because the counterfeit is a copy doesn't make it a nothing. And nature copied the idea of value and did it really well. Anyway, he's saying that somehow the ability to describe something has something to do with its reality, which is a false premise, in my opinion. The fact that we make words out of words, right? Words are defined by words, or defined by words, or defined by words. So there's always something at the core. And certainly, generally speaking, we have some vocabulary and some capacity to do some common describing. We can have some notion of bitter, or sour, or sweet, loud, soft. We can do that. So this idea that we have no descriptive capacity is wrong. And we certainly can describe pleasant and unpleasant. We certainly can state to somebody else, well, it was unpleasant. We can do that much of a common category. So what's proof? Having an argument about what a proof is. Frankly, experience is about as close as you can get to proof as you want to do. I mean, it's like playing the video. Actually being conscious is pretty much good enough proof to me that consciousness exists, because I'm goddamn doing it. So I really don't need any logical proof. I don't need any evidential proof, because I'm experiencing it. I'm actually the murder victim. I don't need, to have a trial or do any of that shit. I know I'm being murdered. I was murdered. I mean, this is just idiotic. Let's see, has a property or not, or meets qualifications. I mean, I'm just saying, you can't get any more of a standard of proof or qualification or reality than the fact that we're doing it. Alright, do they happen as experienced? Well, again, this doesn't matter. What our brain does, as individuals. He's just calling this a flawed question to even ask what experience. No, it's not. It's a legitimate question. It just doesn't have legitimate. We just don't have vocabulary sufficient to deal with the fact of the nuances of personal experience. Red means something different to us because we've each had a different experience with red over our lifetime. And that's what red means, is our history with red. And so obviously those histories aren't going to be exactly the same. and it's sort of important that they be exactly the same. I mean, a woman's nipple, it won't mean the same thing to every person, because every person has a different connection to nipples. Alright, experience not the thing. Red is not easily described. Yeah, well, again, so red is just its history. So everything is your history with something, and your brain just creates the new experiences out of the old ones. So use this word intuition again, which isn't really a concept. It's in any way formed. It's just the brain's first reaction to something. It's what's the top word, the key words. So if every concept had keywords associated to it, or key things, your intuition is just the stuff on the surface. And if you do thinking or contemplation, well, then you go through the deeper layers of context, and your perception is expanded. So intuition is just the superficial mousetrap kind of reaction. You know, snap, you know, react. What world it feel like? What would it feel like to be a pencil? So he did that kind of nonsense, as if there's some point in having a conversation about what it would be like to be an inanimate object. We can certainly imagine what it would be like to have experiences like being crushed in an earthquake, or having to saw your leg off, or chew your leg off, or whatever. We can imagine these experiences. Because not a different experience. History without yeah, so again, just this he's just saying experience isn't real because somehow we don't have common enough associations with things. And again, I'm just going to say it's nonsense. Obviously we can't, obviously animals would, you know, like salmon, they probably all having a common experience, feeling a common sensation when it comes to swimming upstream. Yeah, we're not salmon. We're a little more complicated in our life experience. We don't have the same life experience, where other animals, generally speaking, all live a very similar life. Alright, so I marked this point in the video as if I should play it, because it gets, this is where he goes all stupid. All stupider. So he's holding his pencil, so he just did this pencil crap, which is useless. And so this is what he has to say. Let me make sure the volume isn't too outrageous, as I can't hear.
And I don't think there's actually any meaning to say what it is like to smell, to see red. Even, I guess, this goes on to have
again, so why would you say there's no meaning to it? It seems to me these are interesting questions to ask each other. You know, what's it feel like? You know, I don't know. You know, when somebody sucks your belly button. I mean, you can ask the question and understand that different people have different histories, so they have different associations, and they have a different experience. So what? Why is this not a rational thing to do, is to inquire what other brains make of things? There's nothing void in that question.
Consequences to the ideas of inmendham about the significance intrinsically of suffering. I guess this is where we differ. I just see...
Alright, just understand there's absolutely nothing in this video explaining how suffering doesn't exist, how it doesn't happen, how there aren't brain configurations that are fundamentally bad, that if you manifested those brain configurations in, as I've said before, just distill the sensations themselves and put them in a jar and had them flying through space, it would be a jar of bad. Plain and simple. Yes, the universe created something called bad. A certain configuration is bad. Look, the fact that matter exists is already paradoxical, problematic in terms of explanation, and the tiny little extra leap to go, oh, some of the configurations of matter actually create something bad, a bad arrangement. where's the rule that that can't happen? Oh yeah, there is no such rule. He's just making this shit up. He's just saying, I don't wish to believe it exists as a reality, because that's a hell of a lot more convenient. And that's it, period. I mean, this whole conversation ends if we had some guaranteed way to impose the sentence of their illogic. So if I had a contract that basically said infinite suffering for an infinite amount of time, sign it, and I'll pay you whatever money you want. Tell me the price you'll do that for. Tell me how much money do I have to give you to sign this contract that says you're going to suffer an infinite amount of suffering for an infinite amount of time. No one's going to sign it. No one's going to have a rational price tag for that. And you goddamn know it. So this is just stupid. Because you know your experiences are real. Because you're experiencing them. This is a fucking moot conversation right there. It's just so fucking idiotic to have to argue when it's like saying the brick doesn't exist. Well, I'm the brick. I'm the fucking thing, jackass. You can't tell me it doesn't exist because I'm doing it. My brain has it. It's happening, fuckhead. It can't be not real, idiot.
And this is why I reject testimony of various things.
Right, see, he calls it testimony. He calls it testimony as if we are subjectively saying, I don't like chocolate. And that's not what's being said. What we're saying is suffering is real. It's a happening. It's an event. Unpleasant sensations happen. They're caused for every individual by different things, but they happen to individual brains. They manifest unpleasant, repulsive sensations, hostile, obnoxious, torturous, tormenting sensations. That fact is secure. The fact that the Mets are my favorite baseball team and they should win the World Series, well, that's obviously not a fucking fact.
Could if there escalated a culture and a population expressing that clearly, red is the best colour.
There you go. So again, this is just like Metamorph and the rest of these. He compares suffering to pizza toppings. Now this idiot is sitting there talking about it as if it's a color preference, identifying the fact that we feel good or we feel bad. That fact is somehow an expression of a subjective color preference. The two have nothing to do with each other. It's a fucking category error, retard. Those aren't the same subjects, shithead. The actuality of the qualitative sensation is not the same subject as what provokes a qualitative sensation. Friggin'. Not real events, quality aspect. So I just said red is claiming red to be your best color. Is not the same as having a conversation about the real events or the qualitative element of sensations, generally speaking. So he claims there's no evidence beyond experience. Well, I guess I'm quite obviously saying experience is one hell of a fucking piece of evidence. It's the biggest, loudest DNA sample you can get. It's, it is slam dunk. It's Bruno Mali's shoes in fucking HD video. Anyway, the fact that we feel is not the same subject as what makes us have a feeling. Well, that's the way to say it better. Okay, it's a category error. The fact that we feel is not the same subject as what makes us have a feeling. Feelings and what provokes them are two different subjects. Anyway, sensations report. So that's, you see, that's another kind of way he uses this thing and breaks the conversation with fake, assumptions. Our sensations do not report, okay? They create. They create it, okay? A sensation is a creation. It is not a report. All right, and if you want to think of it as some sort of report, then you have to understand that it's sent in a code. It's sent in a code of where dot is negative and dash is positive, let's say, and it's a code of dot and dashes that are created. It's code. Okay, the code is not the thing. The code is what it makes the thing out of. And that's what consciousness is. So again, it's not a reporting system, it's a creation system. And the very point it's trying to do is create the very fact of positive and negative. It's a value engine. The very fact that we have it is to create value in a universe that doesn't have it until we create it. Our brain has to create it because it doesn't exist till our brain creates it. And it did one motherfucking hell of a job. You can't get more valuable than sensation. I mean, I can't imagine a conceptual way to manifest something called value than to create something called torture. It's about as big a nasty whip you could possibly make. Idiots. So, I mean, this is all shit I've been over before, so they just ignore the counter argument and just keep blabbing the same bullshit, commit the same category errors, just do it over and over and over. This is a conversation about pizza toppings. No, it's a conversation about the fact that there are brain configurations that are intrinsically and fundamentally an expression of badness. They're just bad. It's not a good configuration. You wouldn't want to make the configuration on purpose. You wouldn't want to sign a contract saying, I will endure that configuration forever. Alright. No one's claiming this is more than neurons, so that's another straw man argument. You know, they're saying that because you're saying sensation is a real event, that you're somehow saying it's something more than just a configuration of neurons. I'm not saying there's anything more than neurons. I'm not saying it's anything more than a type of hologram. It's a type of forgery, a type of synthetic creation. But the fact is, it's a synthetic creation, unlike any other creation in the universe. And since there is no real feeling to compare it to, or real bad to compare it to, it is the bad. It's the standard of bad. It's not pencils, for fuck's sake. I mean, again, he's just reducing our experience to a piece of wood with graphite in it and saying that's what this whole complex brain reduces to. And it doesn't reduce to that. It's a denial of its function to reduce it to that. Let's see, nothing would do it and say, let's do it again. Nothing rational would have the negative experience and then say, let's do that again. Nothing rational says torture. Okay, yeah, let's do that again because it doesn't mean anything. Nothing could do that. You'll never show me a thing capable of sensing or tasting torture that will say, go ahead, yeah, torture me some more. Nothing rational. Again, you can come up with some irrational machinery, some sort of circumstantial thing where they're benefiting in some other way from the torture. But I'm just saying, as a simple equation, torture, no bonus happiness tied to experiencing the torture. There's no way you sign up for more torture. If I give you infinite suffering, okay, I already posed that, but that's when we know it's bullshit. Okay, if we could write a contract that would impose it on him to live his lie, there's no way he'd sign the contract. How much would you pay to infinite suffering? Yeah, so again, that's the final question I asked. And it just solves this whole problem because that's why it is just a lie and bullshit. They don't deny their personal experience. They don't think their personal experience is not an event, didn't happen, doesn't happen, isn't real. They know goddamn well it's real. And this is all just bullshit. Fucking obnoxious, evasive bullshit. It's a way of evading accountability and responsibility for the price being paid in terms of experience for your right to experience. And that's all it is. pussy bullshit. Obviously, it's no crime for me to wish eternal suffering on this asshole, right? Because he doesn't think it means anything. So I'll wish it on you, because it's what you fucking deserve, you fucking skunk. You stinking, lousy, fucking piece of shit. I mean, it's just so obnoxious to degrade and insult the horror that has been paid. Again, it's a huge price, and for these glib motherfuckers to play these word games, to evade accounting for it, respecting it, acknowledging it, is just so disgusting. And he does it by repeatedly saying, how does it affect me, you know? To them. Man, fuck you forever. And this is coming from some asshole who just made a video saying, I could never commit a rape. So even if aliens imposed a contract on me that basically said, if you don't rape your sister, we're going to kill everybody on Earth, including your sister. And he would say, I won't do it. It's not my job. I mean, do we know this? I mean, his sister's basically standing there saying, what are you, fucking insane? I got 4 fucking kids. You're going to kill my goddamn kids? Rape me, you dumb fuck. I mean, really. It's just too stupid. I think the only reason why he's not a rapist is he can't get it fucking up. But whatever. He has no rapey desires to overcome, to suppress. That's it. But if it did affect him, if he did profit, if he did have a rapey desire, then he'd be telling an entirely different story, no doubt. Because he's just a selfish, fucking, ignorant turd. He has some vocabulary, but he doesn't know what any of these fucking words mean. He's just one dumb fucker. He's a fucking fat poser. Period. Thank you very much.